Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure you like this video, share this video, and you know what? Just go ahead and follow us on all of our social media platforms. I'll never forget the first time I visited the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. And I'm just walking by, just completely nerding out over all of the different artifacts on display, when I see this small blob-like thing on display. I mean, it looks like nothing that I'd ever seen. I look over at the museum guide and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, yes, these are the remains of a crucified victim. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yep. And I'm just standing there just like mind blown because I never knew that such an artifact even existed. And I'm sure y'all never knew such an artifact existed either. So I decided to make a video because this artifact is a real game changer. So let's get into the crucifixion bone of Givat Hamivtar. In 1968, researchers were working in these newly discovered tombs at Givat Hamivtar, a site that's northeast of Jerusalem.
After Jerusalem had been captured by the Israelis in the 1967 war, they're beginning to expand settlements around the old part of Jerusalem. So in the portion of the excavations for a new building, they uncovered this tomb.
While working at the site, they came across these bones that were placed inside of these ossuaries.
Now, you know, we don't know what an ossuary is.
Cause girl, I sure don't.
I can't even say that word.
Okay, so an ossuary is a box or chest that is used for storing human bones.
An ossuary is a chest, usually in limestone. They can be varied in shape and style. They were about a box, say about this size.
They're typically about 2 feet wide and about 1 foot tall. The use of ossuaries was an ancient Jewish custom that began around 37 BCE, but ended around 135 CE. Now, ossuaries were a key component for ancient Jewish second burials. And when I say second burial, I'm talking about when ancient Jews would take the bones of a fully decayed body and then bury those bones in an ossuary.
After about a year, your flesh is decayed away in the tombs in Israel. So after about a year, you'd open up the grave, you'd go in, you gather the bones, put them in the chest. The next person of the family who would die would then be laid out. Same thing would happen to them. And this way they are maintaining the Old Testament tradition of being gathered to their fathers. Because in the same way that in the Old Testament, they would put in all the bones together in a heap, in a pit. In the New Testament period, the Second Temple period, as we call it, they would be placed in these individual ossuaries.
Now, as researchers were analyzing and looking through the ossuaries of Givat Hamivtar, they found that one of them contained the remains of a crucified victim. Now, you might ask, how do we know that these are the remains of a crucified victim? Let me tell you how they knew. They knew that these were the remains of a crucified victim because one of the bones still had a whole nail inside of it.
Not a whole nail?
Yes, a whole nail.
Still inside the bone?
Yes, girl, still inside the bone.
Oh,
That's crazy.
My mind is blown.
That's crazy.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The crucifixion bone of Givat Hamivtar is an actual human bone with an actual nail still inside of it.
This was the first time we ever found the actual bones of a crucifixion victim with a nail still attached to the bones. This is a replica of the type of spike that would have been used in a crucifixion in the first century. It would have been iron. As you can see, it's roughly wrought. I mean, these are not finished products. These are utilitarian things they're going to use every day. Because unfortunately, in the Roman world, executions were not out of the ordinary.
And let me break this down for y'all just a little bit. Let's talk about this bone. The nail is actually pierced through the right calcaneus bone, aka the right heel bone, which, by the way, is the biggest bone of the foot bones. It's the bone in the foot that gets it, that hook part of in the back of the foot, shape of the foot, the back of the foot. Anyway, the nail inside the bone is made of iron and measures approximately 4.5 inches, which is about the size of my index finger to the top of my very gorgeous fingernails. I know this illustration wasn't necessary, but I really wanted to show y'all my nails.
Don't think of this as a little garden nail. This is a spike. It's like a railroad spike, really, in our world today. So they'll need a long spike. They don't want it to go through the wood all the way. It'll go into the wood, okay? Chunk of wood about that from about the upright of the cross. But it would then stick out the nail so he can't get himself off.
Now, the only reason we have this fossilized nail and bone artifact combination is because as the nail was being driven into the bone, the tip of the nail hit against the knot from the olive wood upright beam of the cross, causing the nail to bend and curl.
Was driven through his heel so that they could not remove the nail when they took him down from the cross. So they buried him with the nail, and it remained in the bone the entire time.
Now, you might ask, how do you know that the cross beam was olive wood? Let me tell you how we know that this was olive wood. Because within this nail and bone combo, there were remains of wood.
Girl, it's wood up in there too?
Yes, girl, wood too. And let me tell you, there was olive wood at the end where the nail was bent, but there were also the remains of a wooden plaque that was either acacia or pistacia wood that was underneath the head of the nail. Now, I need to tell y'all that the rest of the bones from this same body were not preserved as well. So we don't have the lower arm or the hands. But I mean, finding a nail-pierced foot bone is a lot though, especially when we talk about how this bone contributes to our understanding of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. But we're not gonna get into all that just yet. We're gonna have to do that next time. Next time on Just So You Know.
That we don't want to put it here because too much weight, it'll pull, it'll rip. So we want to put it in the bone.
So this individual is not going to be able to pull themselves off, because if they try, they've got a lot more. Even if they pull away from the wood itself, there's a lot more way to go. They're going to have to go through.
Looking at the crucifixion bone of Givat Hamivtar, that crucified victim's feet would not have been nailed with one foot on top of the other.
You know, that artifact supports that the scriptures describe Jesus' crucifixion accurately, according to what first century crucifixions would have been like.